Hi, my name's Penny, and as usual, I'm here to talk about some bookish things. Specifically, today I want to talk about some new releases that are coming out in November, as well as new books that I have discovered. So books that I have just heard about, or books that I have finally been convinced to look into picking up. So let's start by talking about the new releases in November that I'm interested in. Firstly, we have Call Down the Hawk by Maggie Stiefvater. I'm so excited for this new series, set in the same world as the Raven Cycle, so it's kind of like a spin-off series, but focusing on Ronan and his family. If you haven't read the first series, you won't know the deal with Ronan and his family, but let me tell you, it's going to be a really exciting series all around. I don't want to say it because it is spoilers for the Raven Cycle, but honestly, it's my favorite thing and I'm so excited for this series. Then there are also a few other books also coming out on the same day, November the 5th. November the 5th seems to be the magical publishing day of November. Every month seems to have a day when everyone wants to release everything. So firstly, there is The Guinevere Deception by Kirsten White. This is going to be the first book in another new series, and this is going to be a reimagining of the Arthur legend, but told from Guinevere's perspective, and it does say that she is a changeling. So that sounds like a really cool take on the Arthur legend. I really love the Arthur legend. It's got so many cool ideas in it, and I'm really excited to see how Kirsten White is going to twist this to make it something exciting and new. Next we have The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. So Erin Morgenstern wrote The Night Circus, which I still haven't read, but I really do want to. But the synopsis of The Starless Sea also makes me really excited to read it. It talks about there being a secret library in an underground world with pirates and painters and lovers and liars and ships on a starless sea. The cover has keys on it, and I really love stuff with keys in it for some reason. I really love the Lock and Key series, and I really love the Dark Vault or the Archived series by Victoria Schwab. So it just sounds like it would be really cool, and I really need to read The Night Circus, so why not? Then the last book that's going to be released on November 5th that I'm excited about is The Toll by Neil Shusterman. So I still haven't read Scythe, but I really want to. This is set in a future where people no longer die of disease or accidents. So instead there are these people who are scythes who decide who is going to die, and we're following a couple of people training to be scythes. I believe there is also some kind of AI running things, and I love stories where AI are trying to improve what's going on with humanity. So I'm excited about that aspect, and once The Toll is out, I'll be able to just binge the whole series in one go. So I am excited to do that again at some point, because when am I going to have time to read all these books? I don't know, but I'm excited to. Then there are a couple of other books coming out later in the month. So the first one is The Pursuit of William Abbey by Claire North. Claire North is the author of The First 15 Lives of Harry August, as well as A Sudden Appearance of Hope. So she often writes books that have really good concepts. The Pursuit of William Abbey is something about a boy who is cursed, and then a shadow is chasing him across the world, and if it catches him, the person he loves the most will die. I'm just really interested to see what Claire North is going to do with this idea, and so I'll be picking this up at some point. And then the last book that we have that's going to be released in November that I'm excited about is Starsight by Brandon Sanderson. This is the second book in the Claim the Stars series. Initially, it was going to be released on the magical November the 5th, but it has been delayed slightly. The story is set on another planet where the humans have been chased by aliens, and they're now trapped living underground because the aliens won't let them leave the planet and attack them whenever they see them. And our main character Spencer really wants to join the Air Force to battle these aliens, but unfortunately her dad ran off in the middle of a air battle, and so he's been branded as a coward, and that reputation has affected people's perception of her. The first book was amazing. I loved it, and I'm so excited to see what's going to happen next, because the things we discovered at the end of the first book changed everything, as Brandon Sanderson likes to do. Okay, so now let's talk about books that I have recently added to my Goodreads to read list, because this is where I keep track of all the books I'm excited to read, and whenever I hear someone talk about something that's exciting, I added onto the list. So firstly, I added in Sawkill Girls by Claire Legrand. I believe this is a story about some girls that come together to fight off whatever has been killing people. Jade from Jaded Reader said that it has a demon in it, and that is what made me interested to read this after seeing some mixed reviews for it. But if it's got a demon, then I'm into it. I also added Heirs of Power to my to-read list. This is a self-published novel by Kay McLeod, who is the sister of Cats and Camera, who has a booktube channel. She recommended this to me when I came up with the prompt to read a self-published novel with my TBR machine, and it looks really interesting. I love the cover, so I'm definitely interested to pick this up at some point. It seems to be a fantasy story about different people who have inherited powers, and they're called constellations. So it seems like their powers are somewhat star related. I love stars. I'm into it. Then I also added The Bone Witch by Rin Pico. I've seen this series around quite a lot, and I don't know why I never added it to my list before, but I saw Gemma from A Story and a Song talking about it and saying it was great, and it reminded me that I was interested in it. And I believe it's a story about a girl who is a necromancer and ostracized because of that. Necromancers. I love necromancers. Is that a weird thing to say? Probably. I also added If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio to my to-read list because I saw Alyssa's Shelves talking about it, and I believe this is a favorite of Books and Lala as well. I don't know much about it other than I believe it's some kind of a theatre group all involved with doing Shakespeare, and they get involved in some kind of like murder plot or some bad shit goes down that they're involved in, and it's just the story of what happened. Everyone says it's really dark and creepy, and that's what I'm into. Another book that Alyssa Shelves was recommending is The End and Other Beginnings, Stories from the Future. So this is a short story anthology by Veronica Roth, who wrote the Divergent series. And this was actually released last month. I saw that it was being released, but I thought, nah. That's basically what I thought. Nah, not interested. But hearing from somebody that I trust that it does have some good stories in it, and they're all like investigating weird future technology, which is what I'm into. I'm into so many things, but I'm now being convinced that it probably is worth giving a go. The next book that I added is a bit of a strange one. It's called Chilling Effect, and it's by Valerie Valdez. And all I really know about it or remember about it is that it's got psychic cats in it. It's some kind of science fiction. The Booktube Goddess came across it in their latest Shove It or Shelve It video, and I thought the cover was really pretty. And psychic cats. I need more cats in my books. So I thought this one looked interesting. Then I also added 1,000 Roads Home by Carmel Harrington. And this is a contemporary, which normally isn't my thing, but apparently it's got an autistic main character and it deals with homelessness in a really good way. And I think those are both things I'm interested in learning more about. And Anna Goldberg was saying that she read it and she thought it was really impactful. So it sounds like something that's worth picking up. Then I also added The Bone Dolls Twin by Lynn Flewelling. That's probably not how you say it, but this is a book that Gemma from A Story and a Song put in her top 10 fantasy. It just sounds like a really dark fantasy with some interesting gender stuff going on and also some surprising twists and turns. So I decided to add it. How many ways can I say so I decided to add it to my Goodread list? It was just vaguely interesting, so I added it to my Goodreads list because I hate Future Me and I want her to read all the books. I love Future Me and I want her to read all the books. I don't know how I feel about Future Me, but I want her to read all the books. Anyway, we've only got 2 more books that I added for Future Me to read. Firstly, we have Alcatraz versus the Evil Librarian. So this is a middle grade series that Brandon Sanderson wrote, and I never heard about it until Tia and All the Books commented on my middle grade recommendations video and said, oh, didn't Brandon Sanderson also write this middle grade series? So yes, apparently he did, and I'm going to read it. I will notice, like, the title has Evil Librarians in it, and when I went to put a hold on the first book at my library, I noticed that it has this weird status like librarian approval. It's like implying that kids can only get this book if the librarians approve, and I'm wondering if it's just because it says Evil Librarians, and so the librarians are against this book because they don't like being called evil. Anyway, I assume that the evil librarians in this story are specific librarians that are causing trouble, because most librarians are absolutely lovely. Then lastly, I added Everything is Fucked, a book about hope by Mark Manson. I read Mark Manson's other book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, and I thought it was alright. Not life-changing, but at the time I listened to it, I found it quite motivating. Rachel Marie from Rachel Marie's Book Journey was talking about this book and saying that it talks a little bit about robots taking over all our jobs and that being a good thing. Personally, I'm totally waiting for the robots to become like our guardians and look after us, and we can just have a good time. I'm not sure how the robots are going to feel about that, but that's the future I'm shooting for. So I'm interested to see what this book has to say about that, and also just about hope and how we continue even though everything is fucked. So that's all the books. Well, no. So that's not quite all the books I added to my Goodreads list. I also recently went through and updated all the series where I should be picking up the next book in the series, and I added all the next books in the series to Goodreads. But if I go through all of those, we'll be here forever, so I might do a separate video about that. We'll see. I did also put a hold on Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo, which I mentioned in my last new releases video, but since then I've seen a few people that I really trust giving it good reviews, so that's made me more interested in reading it sooner rather than later. I put a hold on it, but yes, I'm 79 of 89 in the hold list queue, and I had a look. My library owns, the library system owns 8 copies of Ninth House, and I see that they've got like another 15 on order, so it seems like they were kind of surprised at how this book has taken off, which is interesting. So I think at that rate it's going to take a while before I finally get to the top of the hold list, but that's okay because I don't actually have time to read it at the moment anyway, but I do think I'm really interested in reading it. So those are all the new releases in November that I'm excited about, or new discoveries that I've made. Let me know if you are excited to read any of the books that I have talked about, or if you've already read any of them. Do you think I've made a good decision adding them to my list? And are there any books that you have newly discovered this month that you're excited about? Let me know. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you're having a wonderful day, and I will see you next time.